Ferrari's dream of winning the Italian Grand Prix for the first time in 9 years is a real possibility today, but by no means a certainty. Monza hosts the 1000th World Championship race for Formula One cars today, and suitably enough, a Ferrari is on pole position in the hands of their new superstar Charles Leclerc. But joining him up front is 5 times winner here and 5 times world champion Lewis Hamilton. We're set for a battle royal on Tifosi turf. We are in the northern Lombardy region of Italy, northeast of Milan. The sun is shining now after some heavy overnight rain, which has rinsed down the 3.6-mile circuit, which consists of a series of drag strip-like straights through tricky chicanes and a demanding final corner at Parabolica. Mercedes have won this race for the last 5 years in a row. And last year, Valtteri Bottas survived an incident at turn 1 with Max Verstappen that would see him end up in 3rd place. But it was teammate Lewis Hamilton who executed a brilliant move at the second chicane, which left Vettel floundering. The driver steward this weekend, Derek Warwick, knows exactly how it can go wrong here. Thankfully, he walked away from this horrific-looking crash back in 1990. We are expecting a one-stop race today. 10% chance of rain being shown to us, but right now it looks as though it's going to stay dry and we'll be on the slick tyres. The soft and medium most likely to be used, but we could see the hard in use for somebody who makes an early pit stop. Charles Leclerc then, starting from his 4th pole position of the season as he tries to take back-to-back victories. Lewis Hamilton, 10th front row start for the man who leads the World Championship. Valtteri Bottas lines up in 3rd place, only 0.05 of a second off pole. Vettel is 4th. Daniel Ricciardo is in 5th place. A great lineup for Renault, one of their best results in many years to have them both in the top 6. Carlos Sainz lines up in 7th place with Alex Albon in his 2nd outing for Red Bull, 8th. 9th on the grid is Lance Stroll, and Antonio Giovinazzi, the Italian, who scored just once so far this year, is 10th. Kevin Magnussen starts 11th ahead of Danny Kvyat in the other Toro Rosso. Then we've got Romain Grosjean and George Russell back on the 7th row of the grid. Behind them, it's Robert Kubica, who's had 2 podiums here in Italy in the past. Lando Norris with engine penalties, starting down in 16th place. More penalties for Pierre Gasly and Sergio Perez, so they're down towards the back. And on his own at the back of the grid is Max Verstappen. It's a pit lane start for Kimi Räikkönen as he had complete engine change after qualifying. Well, there is Sebastian Vettel then, who lines up in 4th place. He is some 12 points behind Max Verstappen in the fight for 3rd place in the championship, but that doesn't really matter to him today. All that he's caring about is a good result for Ferrari on home soil. Valtteri Bottas, who starts in 3rd place. Well, let's see what he can do. He's never won at Monza before. He's had a 2nd place and a 3rd, but never the victory. The man who keeps winning here at Monza is this man, Lewis Hamilton. He's had 5 victories, matching Michael Schumacher's record of 5 wins here at Monza. And he's also looking for a hat-trick of wins this time, as he's won the last 2 years in a row. But there's the man to beat. It is Charles Leclerc, who has had 1 win to his credit now, thanks to that result in Belgium last time out. But is he going to be able to turn it all around and do another victory here this weekend? We shall see. Certainly in the perfect position to do so, and he's got all the support of the fans in the grandstands as well. It's a fabulous turnout, as you can expect, with extra people turning up, knowing that there is a Ferrari on pole position and the Italian flag waving at the front of the grid, but waving all around the grandstands as well. It's not only Ferrari supporters, I have to say. Watching out from our vantage point, you do see plenty of Max Verstappen supporters in orange, and supporters for all of the teams are here, but they are somewhat swamped by those in red. Just looking at Max Verstappen there, by the way, he is starting from the back, and he's on the soft tyre, the medium compound tyre. So some of the guys at the back have gone for the medium compound tyre, which does make sense. It means they can go a little deeper into the race. Not a huge difference between the 2 different tyres. Thanks, Steve. The passion here is absolutely fantastic. We're getting ready for the formation lap for what is the 1000th World Championship race specifically for Formula One cars. Away they go, led by Charles Leclerc. This is the 90th edition of the Italian Grand Prix, albeit the 89th actual running of the race. It's the 90th anniversary season for Ferrari. But will the numbers add up for Charles Leclerc who starts from pole position for the Italian team. Looks to me as though everybody's got off the grid okay. Max Verstappen bringing up the rear in the Red Bull. It's going to be fascinating to see him climb through the field with a car that's got good pace here at Monza, but they had to take the engine penalties, and then they actually had a problem getting that engine to run properly in qualifying, so he never actually set a representative lap time. But I think he should be in good shape. Looks like a one-stop race. For those starting on the soft, stopping around lap 19, you can go deeper into the race if you're starting on the medium. That's what Max is doing. It's what Dani Kvyat's doing. Interestingly, of the group outside the top 10, Romain Grosjean has decided to start on the soft tyre, not the medium, so he won't be able to go quite so deep into the race. Charles Leclerc already trying to get those tyre temperatures up, followed by Hamilton and Bottas, and then Vettel. And there's the last man to have won for Ferrari here at Monza back in 2010. He took on Jenson Button, and it was actually one of the classic confrontations between Fernando Alonso and Jenson Button. Jenson led much of the early stages, but at the pit stop, Alonso just got out in front of Jenson Button and went on to take the victory. It really was a tremendous battle. We could be seeing something similar today with Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, and on this occasion it's not a McLaren chasing, it's a Mercedes. The Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. So let's see what he's going to be able to do. A lot of movement going around as the guys get a feel for the tyres, get a feel for the cars. And David, we're getting ready for what should be a great race, just looking at how the grid is lined up at the top.
Yeah, I'm really enthused by how close it was in qualifying. Yes, we didn't see that final flying lap because of the silliness that was going on trying to not be the first one across the grid. But the mix of how the lap times delivered, Ferrari are quick in the first and last sector. They've only got about 7 kilometers an hour in qualifying, in the difference in straight line speed to Mercedes, which in my mind is less than what we saw in Spa. So I think Charles is going to have his mirrors full of Hamilton this afternoon.
So they're heading down onto the grid. Just to remind you, it's Leclerc, Hamilton up front, Bottas and Vettel behind, Daniel Ricciardo and Hülkenberg in the 2 Renaults. Then Carlos Sainz starts well ahead of Albon, Stroll and Giovinazzi. Magnussen is 11th on the grid. Kvyat, Grosjean and George Russell complete the top 14. Then it's Kubica, Norris, Gasly, Perez and Verstappen, with Kimi Raikkonen starting from the pit lane. Charles Leclerc has the opportunity to be the 9th driver in World Championship history to take a first win and then back it up at the next race with another. The last person to do that was a certain Lewis Hamilton, who will be doing his utmost to prevent it happening here today. It could be an amazing confrontation between the new star, Charles Leclerc, who sits on the right, and the established star, Lewis Hamilton. You're sitting on board with him briefly before the start of the race. We're all set to go then for the Italian Grand Prix. Can Ferrari win on home turf, or will Mercedes maintain their remarkable run of success here? Lights out, away we go. Good start from Hamilton. Very good start, but Charles Leclerc's going to try and cover him down towards this first chicane. It's going to be tight. Hamilton with a little bit of a chance on the inside, and it's a good start by the Ferrari. Watch Bottas. Bottas goes into second. He gets past Hamilton. Now Hamilton's trying to go around the outside of Bottas, and he does it. Wow, great racing between the teammates. Couple of cars down the escape road. Vettel in 4th, protecting his position from the Renault of Hülkenberg.
Yeah, that was one of the Red Bulls as well that went down the escape road, but Bottas, very fair with Hamilton, gave him space on the exit of the corner, and so far all clean. And Vettel there, almost a repeat of what we saw last year, and when he had the spin there, getting passed by the Renault.
Yeah, it's Hülkenberg. What a great move by Hülkenberg, as you say, doing similar to what Lewis Hamilton did. He didn't spin it this time, Sebastian Vettel, but Hülkenberg gaining the place, and that's put him here up in a 4th position. Chased now by Vettel, Ricciardo, and then Lance Stroll, who's having kept this racing point up there, well up in the top 10. That's good news for him. He's ahead of Carlos Sainz. Sainz is trying to re-attack, and Sebastian Vettel's trying to come back now, but he has dropped down to 5th place.
Well, anyone, and I can't imagine who would, had any doubt that Charles Leclerc wasn't the real deal. The way he handled the pressure of Hamilton down the inside to the first corner was absolutely brilliant, and he's now got to try and break that slipstream to the Mercedes. That's his only hope, I think, to be able to carry this all the way to the flag.
There could be damage on Max Verstappen's car, we gather. We're not quite sure yet, but he's still running down towards the back. Here comes Sebastian Vettel back at the Renault, and look at that straight line speed that the Ferrari's got. Even though the Renault's been quick on the speed traps, he obviously used all the power available, and he was able to just drive straight past him.
Yeah, I think the Renault have found solutions for their qualifying. As you see there, Verstappen, nose change. So, well, bad grid position due to that engine penalty, and things have just got a little bit worse. The prediction was that he could get maybe 5th or 6th this afternoon with a clean race with the underlying pace, but now that's going to be difficult to get into the points.
Charles Leclerc is in command, but not by very much, because he's being chased by both Mercedes. And of course this helps Mercedes, David, because they can perhaps work together a little bit to try and beat Charles Leclerc, whereas Sebastian Vettel's a bit further behind. Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Stroll, then Sainz, then Alex Albon. So it wasn't a great opening lap for Alex Albon in the other Red Bull. So Red Bull hasn't had a good start today, with Max Verstappen having damage to the front wing. Giovinazzi's chasing as well in 10th position. And then the rest of the field coming through. Magnussen is currently in 11th place. Romain Grosjean dropped some 3 places on that opening lap. One of the bigger losers. He's found himself down in 16th position after the first couple of laps. So things beginning just to start to settle down now. And Charles Leclerc trying to make a break. It's not really happening yet. The gap, though, just a second between them as Hamilton crosses the line. He did get fastest lap there, Charles Leclerc. We'll see if anybody else can match that. And then the rest of them now. There's Alex Albon just having a little look. Kevin Magnussen in the background, you could see in the Haas, was protecting from the Toro Rosso, the blue Toro Rosso of Dani Kvyat. Some crucial battles in the midfield going on as the teams try to gain points out of this weekend.
It's visible, isn't it, how low and how small the rear wing is on that Red Bull as they try and get the straight line speed. Here he comes!
Albon down the inside. Wow, that was... I didn't think he was going to have space there.
No, and so close to clipping the back of the car. A bit slow coming out, and the McLaren's coming back at him into the first Lesmo.
And he's going around the outside. Sainz is trying to fend him off. Oh, there's a touch.
Contact, that was a little bit inexperienced there shown from Alex. You know, great idea to try and run it round the outside, but risk versus return at this stage. Has he got any damage to the car?
Yeah, he ran around the outside of Ricciardo in Spa, didn't he? And it worked, but it didn't work this time.
Yeah, brave stuff on the brakes, and certainly Red Bull will be very impressed with his ability to get stuck in. That was one of the things that they felt wasn't quite right with Pierre Gasly. Then it was a bit tardy coming out of the chicane, and then tries to come back again. He had legitimately the right to be on the outside, but equally Sainz had the right to let his car breathe, and in the end there was small contact.
Narrow track here as well, so if you're going to do that, you've really got to commit to it. Charles Leclerc does lead by just over a second, so he's just outside DRS range of Lewis Hamilton, so that's a good position to be in, there's no doubt about it. Carlos Sainz now finds himself lonely in 8th place. Giovinazzi under pressure from Kevin Magnussen. Both are Ferrari-powered cars. They run the Ferrari power unit. They're chased, as you can see, by Alex Albon, who has now dropped down the order and is ahead of Dani Kvyat in the Toro Rosso. So Albon's got to see if the car's okay and start charging his way back up through the field.
Right, you just look at the rear wing on that Red Bull. Look how small it is in comparison to the Haas. So they've trimmed out to try and get as much straight line speed as possible.
So it is all happening at the moment. Max Verstappen's just set fastest lap. So with the new front wing on and completely clear air, it is clear. Another look at the start here.
Yeah, Hamilton got a good launch away, gets himself 3/4 alongside Leclerc, but look at the straight line speed advantage, the power advantage of that Ferrari was clear to be seen. Bottas, very good around the outside, gets compromised slightly through the left of the second part of the chicane. And we're going to see what happened to Max Verstappen. So starting at the back of the grid, always more difficult with the concertina effect.
At least the start worked this time.
Yeah, that's right. In Spa a week ago, it was a very tardy start. So he's actually quite conservative at this stage. Well, and then unfortunately it's cut away, so we haven't seen where the contact happened. Look at Hamilton, his hand, left-hand side, unusual clutch release with his hand there, but his initial launch was good.
Change between the two Renaults. Daniel Ricciardo has just slipstreamed past teammate Nico Hulkenberg, and Ricciardo's gone into 5th place there, but the Renaults are still running pretty strongly. They're easing away from Lance Stroll, who's in a solid 7th for Racing Point. The other Racing Point, by the way, of Sergio Perez, has made a bit of ground, up to 15th position now. But Max Verstappen, he's way behind because of that pit stop. He hasn't even caught the back of the field as yet. Lando Norris has just got past George Russell, so still plenty of changes going on. Perez actually has just gained another place, and this is how Daniel Ricciardo got past the Renault, his teammate of Nico Hulkenberg.
Yeah, Nico Hulkenberg there. You can see the red light flashing on the back of his car. He was no longer deploying any energy, and with the DRS open as well, Daniel was easily able to pass.
Mark, what are your thoughts on the early stages of this race?
Well, brilliant driving, wasn't it, from the top four in the opening section, in the first sector of the Grand Prix. But Charles Leclerc here, he's trying to break the toe, and we've been talking about this all weekend, and he's managing to do it. He's starting to get a bit of a gap now, and if he can do that, then obviously he's going to give himself options around that first pit stop. But tremendous battle between the top four, and the poker's going to start. The poker game will start happening very soon around the pit stops. There's no question about that.
We've got a battle here too between Kevin Magnussen and Alex Albon, as Albon now picks up the slipstream from the Haas car. We know Albon's prepared to go for the overtakes. We also know that Magnussen can be pretty feisty when it comes to defending good straight line speed from that Haas with the Ferrari power unit.
Yeah, he made it very clear early that he was going to defend the inside, so this may prove a little bit tricky for Albon. All the time, even on these lower downforce circuits, you're running dirty air, you get the benefit of slipstream, but you also lose clean, efficient air over your wings, and the car slides around more. That works the tyres harder.
Magnussen, best finish here was 10th place for McLaren back in 2014. Let's have another look at what happened to Max Verstappen.
Yeah, so we'll, I'm sure, stay with it this time so we can see where was the contact. He was nice and conservative initially.
Oh.
And you can see just the concertina effect. It just completely caught him out. And, you know, I think just understandably slow. You don't understandably so, I should say, because Vettel
has spun off.
So scary.
Oh, he almost takes Stroll out.
Yeah, that was dangerous to come back on the circuit like that.
Oh my goodness, what is going on? Stroll, yeah, he did take Stroll out. Oh, and Stroll nearly takes Gasly off as well. Gasly through the gravel.
Yeah, front wing damage on Vettel. Look at the front wing, it's dropped. He's got a puncture.
Yeah, I think he may have. Certainly badly damaged car.
There's that from the contact with Stroll. So Vettel's nightmare continues.
I think I have damage. The front left.
You certainly do, Sebastian. Well, we haven't seen the beginning of that yet, but it just doesn't get any better for Sebastian Vettel, does it? He is touring into the pits. He might get to go out again, but it's hurt Lance Stroll, and you've got to feel for him because he was actually on target for his best result, or one of his best results. He was fourth in Germany, but certainly one of his best results of the season. I wonder if Stroll's going to have to come in as well. I think he's gone past. Yeah, he has. And the front wing gets replaced, and a new set of hard tyres goes on the Ferrari.
Well, I guess at this point they've got to try and see if they can go to the end of the Grand Prix on that set of tyres, because that's going to be his, let's say, best chance, only chance of scoring points. Damage limitation now. Right, on board, breaking down into Ascari. Very fast left entry onto the curb. He lost the rear as he turned on the entry phase on that curb. It's normal to use it. And then this rejoining, and there's that contact with, well, Sebastian, that lies firmly responsibility on you. Yeah. It's understandable that he wants to try and get back into this race, but
just came back on the circuit like an idiot.
Well, I can't argue with Lance Stroll on that one, David. I cannot understand why Seb did that quite like that.
No, that's behaviour unbecoming of a four-time world champion.
Stroll couldn't do anything. There was nowhere he could go to try. He went as wide as he could to try and avoid, and look at how lucky Gasly was as well. I mean, you could say Stroll got going. It's probably not ideally as well, but he was already been taken out. He really tried to steer wide. Car still moving. Then he gets going again here. So, yeah, very difficult. Yeah, he almost did the same thing, actually, that Vettel did to him.
Yeah, well, in my mind, there'll be some action from the stewards on Vettel and his rejoin.
So it's all about Charles Leclerc now in terms of Ferrari. Early pit stop for Romain Grosjean, who did lose quite a lot of time. I think this is a bit of a strategic call from them because he lost quite a lot of ground in the early laps. Now they've gone on to the medium tyre, which is quite interesting. He started on the soft. I wondered if they would go for the hard tyre and run it to the end. But they haven't done that. Let's see what they do late on in the race. But I think it's going to be tough for Romain Grosjean to get in the points. His teammate, though, picking up some places because of Vettel and Stroll tangling. Magnussen's now got up into 9th place, and it's brought Kvyat up into the points as well. And under investigation, the incident between Vettel and Stroll. And I wonder how long it's going to take to get a decision on that. Might not take too long on that one. Haas team not looking terribly happy. It was a spin for Grosjean. Sorry, we didn't see that. So a couple of people really finding conditions tricky here.
Yeah, that's on the exit of Ascari. Again, clipping the curb, a little bit like we saw with Vettel on the way into Ascari. Now that corner, as we mentioned in qualifying yesterday, easy flat on new tyres, low fuel, but when you're heavy, full tanks, as you see a replay of an incident down at the second chicane. Was that Albon? Yeah, was that Albon going around the outside on the brakes, and then was he pushed off, or did he run off and gain an advantage?
I think the stewards are going to be busy today. There's plenty to look at already, and we're only on lap 9 out of 53. Charles Leclerc leads from Hamilton in second.
Looks like he's struggling a little bit.
Looks like he's struggling a little bit, says Lewis. So are the tyres beginning to go off on the Ferrari? It's always the latter phase of the race in recent events where the Mercedes has been so strong. So remember how strong the Mercedes was in Hungary, coming back at Max Verstappen, and then again at Spa last time out, where he closed to within 0.9 of a second of Charles Leclerc in the closing stages. They're chased by the Renaults, but they've dropped back quite a long way. This could be a great result, though, for Renault if they can hang on in there. They're running 4th and 5th at this stage, chased by Carlos Sainz in the McLaren. He's in a solid 6th place. Then Giovinazzi for Alfa Romeo, the Italian, driving for an Italian-branded team, running in 7th. That's great news for them. Albon is now in 8th place, Kvyat in 9th, Magnussen in 10th. And where is Max Verstappen? Well, because he dropped so much time with that front wing change, he's still down in 18th, but he is the fastest man on track, and he has now caught the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's in Parabolica now, and he's sitting there behind the Williams. So we expect to see him start making his way up through, and all the way up to Albon, who's running in 8th place. There's quite a bunch of cars there, so I think he'll make quick progress into the points.
Mark, what do you reckon's happening at the moment? What have we got to keep an eye on?
Well, obviously another unforced error from Sebastian Vettel. The catalogue of those errors are just creeping up, aren't they? It's incredible how he can drop that car on his own in Ascari, and the re-entry was absolutely horrendous. So yes, visibility is tricky in these cars from an angle like that, but he will definitely get a penalty, I believe, for that taking Lance Stroll out there, which is horrible for him. The Renaults, they're going to want to absolutely really capitalise on this sensational position. I think there'll be some team orders, and they want to get those two cars as strategically positioned as they can to get a big haul of points for them today.
Well, in the meantime, Sergio Perez gained from the incident between Vettel and Stroll, and Perez, here you are riding with him. He's now in 11th place, chasing after Kevin Magnussen. The Albon-Magnussen incident has been noted by the stewards, but it's not under any investigation right now. That was when we saw Albon cutting the corner a bit, but they may well feel that that was a racing incident because Magnussen was putting a bit of a squeeze on him at the same time. So now on board with Perez, he's got a new engine in. It's not the latest spec Mercedes, but it is an engine he's hoping to take to the end of the season. He's got a great run, a great slipstream. Is he going to attack? Not quite there in time to have a go into turn 1. Magnussen has been penalised for aggressive blocking into turn 1 here before with Valtteri Bottas a few years ago. So he was sensible there, nothing wrong, but it's another chance for Perez as they come down towards the second chicane.
Yeah, it looks like he's deployed as much energy as he's got down into the first chicane, so he's pretty tardy on the run from the second. Perez is coming at him, and whoa, that was aggressive. That was definitely a slap in the face to Perez.
That was marginal, wasn't it? He did back out of it and slotted in behind, but he definitely lifted. You can see he had to lift off the throttle. That gap would not be as big as it is unless he'd actually lifted off there. And he has a reason to be upset about that. You should be able to accelerate flat out and not have somebody cut you up like that on the exit of a corner anyway. There is our race leader. It is Charles Leclerc. The two Mercedes are absolutely in this still because Bottas has not dropped away from Hamilton. Sometimes we have seen him drop away, but he hasn't this time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it, if they maintain position like this, who blinks first on a pit stop. That is going to be key. The human element of this race could well be decided in that actual pit stop itself. But Hamilton, well, he knows where his car's quick. It's in this middle sector. Just putting up a little bit of dust as he exits the second chicane. But this is immense pressure on Leclerc, and isn't he handling it well? So far, so good. Yes, he is brilliantly well at the moment. But have the Mercedes got a little bit more pace? Are they waiting? Are they biding their time? They're certainly pushing on at the moment, and as you can see over the last couple of laps, the difference has been pretty minuscule between them. Hamilton faster on a couple of laps, but then Leclerc getting it back.
So this is great stuff, and seeing him under pressure and not making any mistakes. So we've got an announcement of a penalty, and it's a 10-second stop-and-go penalty for Sebastian Vettel. That's quite a big penalty. It's not just added on when he does his pit stop. That is a specific, you come in the pits, you stop for 10 seconds, you go out again. You're not allowed to do any tyre changes during that time, and that's a big penalty, and you have to say, I think we all feel he deserves it for that.
Yeah, he was definitely came back on in an unsafe way. Well, that's going to add about 30 seconds, a bit more actually, about 32 seconds to his race time by the time he comes in and sits stationary for 10.
And Charles, at the moment we are thinking plan B.
So whatever plan B is. And the question is really which car is going to work better on the medium compound tyre. Now in Belgium, we definitely saw the Mercedes seem to have the edge when we went on to the harder compound, and of course that will come later on in the race. Maybe that's what they're looking forward to in the latter stages.
Yeah, Hamilton's working it hard in this middle sector. Again, you saw a little puff of dust as he went right onto the edge of the curb and where the gravel is in the exit of the second chicane. We saw the previous lap really hanging out. As we see a replay of Vettel's spin there. See here, he got off the brake, allowed the four wheels to find their own traction, and that allowed him to swing back to the inside rather than going towards the barrier. And then, well, we understand what he's trying to do, but he knows he's got cars behind him, and then that's unfortunate contact there for Lance Stroll.
Another something else that's being investigated is the tyres that Kimi Raikkonen was running at the start of the race, which is a bit of an odd one. Vettel's just made a second pit stop to do his 10-second stop-and-go penalty.
He's going to come out just behind the top three battle. We've had Leclerc, Hamilton, Bottas have just passed through. You can see them there. And then Vettel, well, lap down.
Yeah, a lap down on lap 14 out of 53.
The Italian media are going to tear him to shreds, aren't they, tomorrow?
Yeah, they really are. I mean, it was his mistake, the spin. He then made another mistake by rejoining in an unsafe manner. He got the penalty. He is now a lap down with only 13 and a bit laps completed. It has not gone well for Sebastian Vettel, but he's just got to focus on what he can do here today and then move on, I guess. Meanwhile, Max Verstappen is beginning to pick up some of those places further back. He's now got himself into 16th position and ahead of the two Williams cars. He's now chasing after Kimi Raikkonen. Actually, here we go, on board with Max Verstappen. As I say, there is a question about, did Kimi Raikkonen start on the incorrect tyres? That must be a sort of bureaucratic thing.
Oh, I get this problem again, that I lost power out of turn 2. Okay, power is coming back. Just watch, well, you know what to watch.
I think yesterday it happened in qualifying when he had some wheel spin and the electronics in the engine got a bit confused, and that's what lost him power. I don't know if that's what's going on now, but he is closing, he is catching on Kimi Raikkonen, who, remember, did start from the pit lane. So Verstappen gradually picking them off one by one. His teammate Alex Albon, by the way, hasn't made any further progress, having got past Magnussen earlier. He is ahead of Kvyat. I think Kvyat got past Magnussen, but he is still in 8th place. Alexander Albon looking back from Kimi Raikkonen's car now at Max Verstappen as they head down towards Parabolica. Interestingly, there's a drive-through penalty for Lance Stroll because they've deemed that he also rejoined the track in an unsafe way, and there is a pass on Giovinazzi by Albon. That is Alex Albon. So the other Red Bull, the other Alfa Romeo, have just swapped round. Albon into 7th place, whereas Verstappen, here we go, he is passing the Alfa of Kimi Raikkonen, and he moves up into 15th position. It would be embarrassing for Albon if he ends up getting passed by Max Verstappen. He won't want that to happen, and he's trying to avoid that. Now he's got past Giovinazzi, and he's going to go chasing after Carlos Sainz. So, yeah, Lance Stroll, he's been penalised as well, but it looks like it's just a straightforward drive-through. They haven't added the 10 seconds, which is interesting. They don't feel it was quite as naughty as Sebastian's.
Well, yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? Because if you get the penalty because they feel that you've rejoined in an unsafe way, well, how do you sort of, it's either unsafe or it isn't unsafe. Clearly Vettel's was unsafe, and on that similar vein, you've got to say that Lance Stroll's was unsafe.
Kimi Raikkonen apparently started on a set of mediums. We should have, in theory, started on a set of softs that he used in qualifying because he was in the final top 10. Mind you, they had already taken the penalty of changing specification on the car and doing a pit lane start. So that's a bit of a mixed one.
Yeah, also the tyres that he would have, well, no, actually, it was the last part of qualifying that he crashed. I was going to say that those tyres would have been ridden off. But yeah, my interpretation was that once you do a pit lane start, you're out of parc fermé conditions, and that includes tyres.
I would have thought so, but clearly the stewards don't feel, well, they're looking into it. Actually, it hasn't been a penalty yet, so maybe they're just looking into that for the moment. Lance Stroll into the pits and heading on his way back out again. Is there going to be any chance for him to get into the points again? It could be a tough one. This was his rejoin, David.
Yeah, well, he's come across the face of that Toro Rosso. Impossible for him to see, and Vettel from that point of view as Mercedes. Now, is this a fake stop or an actual stop? We
do see Mercedes come out quite often and then disappear back in again, not having done anything. And they are ready, certainly.
Yeah, the only thing we question the judgment there is that they'll put them behind Sainz and maybe even Albon. So why would you want to run the risk of pitting? There you go, fake stop. We called it, Ben. We've seen this before.
We have from Mercedes, yeah. And Leclerc stays in front. He didn't come in, didn't respond. This is getting quite close again between Magnussen and Perez. Remember, he had one go and Magnussen blocked him. See what happens next.
He's quicker than us.
He's quicker than us, says Lewis Hamilton. That's interesting. He feels he can't quite match his pace, but it may be different when we get onto the second set of tyres. So that could be fascinating to see. Sergio Perez, let's just see whether he gets a bit more of a toe down into the first chicane. Certainly not close enough to get alongside just yet. Might have another go into the second chicane. Mark, what do you reckon in terms of strategy? I mean, we're only expecting this to be a single stop race, aren't we?
We are, but I just cannot emphasise to the people at home how hard the guys at the front are pushing. It doesn't, you know, there's tenths in it, isn't there? 1.4, 1.6, 1.3. Leclerc is driving unbelievably well. The Lesmos is on the limit, and Lewis Hamilton is watching a bit of a masterclass from a youngster in front of him, but Hamilton is not going to give this to him. And I think we've had a little bit of Hollywood on the radio there. Hamilton, we know sometimes he can give mixed messages to put some pressure on the opposition. So it's going to be brilliant after this first stop.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch. Sergio Perez, meanwhile, trying to get that a little bit more onto the rear gearbox of Kevin Magnussen here, up through Ascari chicane. This is where Vettel lost it earlier. Looking good through there. Very quick sequence of corners, but Magnussen doing enough at the moment. The problem for the Haas team this year has been their pace during the races, and their tyres have not always performed at their best. Magnussen is on a set of soft tyres, whereas Perez is on a set of medium, so in some ways he should be more consistent. And there's another penalty. Right, so a 5-second penalty has just been handed to Alex Albon for gaining an advantage. That was when he cut the chicane and got past Magnussen earlier on, I would imagine, and that will be taken at his pit stop, so he doesn't have to come into the pits yet. Here is a move from Max Verstappen down the inside of Pierre Gasly, and Gasly sensibly doesn't fight it too hard because the Red Bull is the quicker car. Gasly, of course, was his teammate until 2 races ago, but now he sits in the Toro Rosso and watches Max go past and settles back into 14th.
Yeah, I think my understanding, Ben, of the 5-second penalty is it can be added at the end of the race.
Rears are dropping off, Ben. You cannot overcut him.
Discussing strategy there. We can't overcut him, which means stop later than him and then have the advantage.
Yeah, he's saying the tyres are dropping off, so he doesn't feel he can go faster, which they certainly will when they come in and put new tyres. They can Hamilton small lock up there, and just meant he ran a little bit deeper into the first chicane, and that affects your switch back and a little bit your acceleration all the way down to the second chicane. All of these corners link so much together that it's almost like you're driving an oval. Clearly it's not, but it's almost that type of circuit. You've got to keep the momentum.
And Bottas is keeping the momentum behind. He was actually a tiny bit quicker than Lewis Hamilton on that last lap. Daniel Ricciardo still holding on to 4th place with a gap back to Nico Hülkenberg. The two of them sent... Oh, a big wobble from Leclerc there.
Yeah, he was early on the power out of the second Lesmo and it lit up the rear. So that's the little wake-up, isn't it? That's the little moment where it's like, OK, I've reached the limit of these tyres. Now Hamilton will have seen that, and this is when he'll want to turn the screws.
Exactly as Mark told us, he's pushing hard through the Lesmos, and it nearly went wrong on that occasion, but the great reactions from Charles Leclerc, and he managed to save it. Some drivers would have lost it with a snap like that. Through they come then, top three. Leclerc chased by Hamilton and Bottas, and we're just seeing that Raikkonen did start the
Hamilton's
race.
in.
Lewis Hamilton's coming to the pits.
Rear tyres. Rear tyres. Rear tyres I got.
And Leclerc's beginning to struggle on tyres. Is this the perfect time for the pit stop for Lewis Hamilton? Good pit stop, 2.6 seconds.
But traffic, he's going to come out. He's going to come out with a bit of traffic. There you go. There's Ricciardo. There's Hülkenberg. He'll get out in front of Sainz or Willie. It takes a bit longer to get up to speed. Yeah, Sainz, he's far enough back.
So this is an interesting gamble, isn't it?
Yeah, Hamilton's got to hit it now. He's got to deliver a qualifying lap.
Look at him wobble, you know, you can see the movement in the car, the sliding around, and Hamilton has to go for it. Absolutely, this is classic Hammer time now, where he's got to deliver his absolute best if he's going to have a chance of winning here in Monza today and maintain a remarkable sequence.
Yeah, too deep into the second chicane. Has that cost him any time? You can see he knows this is absolutely crucial if he's going to get the undercut done on Charles Leclerc.
Fabulous stuff. Leclerc stays out in front into the pits. Raikkonen for his 10-second stop and go penalty. They should have been on different tyres according to the stewards. He should have been on the tyres that he used in Q2 yesterday and not a new set, and he's been penalised. In comes Charles Leclerc. Ferrari responds straight away to Mercedes, but Mercedes, the Hamilton's car is going very quickly. Which of them's going to have the advantage? Massive pressure on the Ferrari crew now.
Beautiful stop, beautiful stop. Right, Hamilton's getting a distant tow from Hülkenberg. He's just entering Parabolica. This is going to be tight.
Here comes Charles Leclerc down towards the end of the pit lane. Lewis Hamilton steaming down the start-finish straight behind the Renaults, and Leclerc's going to come out ahead, and there's Hamilton behind. So Hamilton's got tyres up to temperature. Interestingly, the Ferrari went for the hard compound tyre, so it might be that Lewis has got that little bit extra grip here, and Charles Leclerc trying to get a feel for the amount he's got.
Yeah, on this first lap, there won't be that much difference, I don't think. Charles will be disadvantaged by the fact he's on the harder compound. But as it then goes into the race, and we get further in these laps, Hamilton may well have the advantage.
Don't forget, Valtteri Bottas, he's actually our race leader at this point because he hasn't made a pit stop yet. Ricciardo's second, Hülkenberg third, and then these two guys, but they are effectively fighting for the race lead. Charles Leclerc, currently in fourth, having made his pit stop, responding to Mercedes.
Yeah, Hamilton will get DRS here. This will bring him right into the gearbox of Leclerc. He's already thinking, okay, I'm coming at you into the first chicane.
And they're coming up behind Nico Hülkenberg. And don't forget, Hülkenberg can race hard. He doesn't have to let them through. He's racing against them because these guys have stopped. It's not as if Hülkenberg's a lap down or anything, so he won't be letting them through. They'll be involved in that fight.
Yeah, this will be helping a little bit Charles, the fact that the Renaults are ahead. That's punching a hole in the air. This is it. Hamilton knows he's got to get a good drive off Parabolica.
Watch that white line as well. You don't want to run too wide. I think they're both pretty sensible there. Good toe opportunity here, but that Ferrari is so fast in a straight line. It's so difficult, even with the DRS, the wing flap open. Hamilton has a look, but Leclerc knows he's too far back.
Yeah, that was just to say to him, I'm here. Concentrate on me. Don't concentrate on your road ahead. He's trying to force an error.
This is great stuff, a real confrontation between the new superstar and the established champion who's on his way to winning a 6th world title, and they've now got Nico Hülkenberg in their sights. There's Hülkenberg in the Renault. He's still running in 3rd place. Never had a podium in Formula 1. It's unlikely he's going to get it today once this all works out and they've made their pit stops. But nonetheless, he's going to hang on in there for as long as he can, I'm sure. This is a chance for Hamilton to get in a little bit closer.
So Lewis pushing hard Leclerc now. This could play in our hands, so keep pushing hard.
Yeah, might help, I suppose.
Yeah, Hülkenberg, well, you know, if he didn't want to get in the way, he's got his own battle there with Daniel Ricciardo. He's giving a distant tow to Leclerc. but Leclerc will be compromised as he goes through Parabolica, or going to get the pass done before, but this will compromise him. Right, Hamilton is going to capitalise on this.
Yeah, Leclerc goes for the move, but Hamilton will get a double toe now off the Renault and the Ferrari, and he got a good clean run. Hulkenberg is racing against him, but look at the straight line speed still of the Ferrari. Can Hamilton do anything here? He's got to run, and he goes to the outside. Leclerc covers the inside. Clever strategy that from Charles Leclerc. He kind of had to do that, but it's not over yet.
Yeah, this is brilliant. We're getting to see, we want to know, right, how good is Leclerc? Can he handle the pressure? It does not get more than this.
And there's another chance coming up down at the second chicane. Hamilton goes to the outside. This is where he got Vettel last year, remember? Oh, and he gets squeezed and pushed off.
Leclerc will get a penalty. He will get a penalty for that. I'm sorry, but that's what Verstappen did to Bottas, and he got a penalty. I don't want it. I don't like penalties, but you cannot crowd another car off the track.
There was nowhere for Hamilton to go. He ended up on the dirt, and Leclerc now still in front of Hamilton. Hamilton responded brilliantly and got back on.
He didn't leave me a car's width there, pushed me off.
Gets his point across on the radio, gets back into focus and goes chasing after the Ferrari once again.
Right, talk about pressure. The stewards now are under massive pressure. They have to do what they've done before. Watch this, he's got his car fairly alongside, and, well, I agree with him. He got squeezed. He didn't drive down the escape road for the fun of it. He went there because there was no other option.
I do.
There's that little touch, and you could just see there wasn't quite the space. Interesting, Hulkenberg went wide as well. He's got, now,
black and white flag.
This is a new thing. They've decided to bring in the black and white flag to Formula One, which is a warning that the driver behavior is not right. They have not penalized him, but they have given him a black and white, and if he does anything that's slightly dubious, they will penalise him. Now, it's really interesting. This is Michael Massey, the race director, who's taken over from Charlie Whiting, who's kind of reintroduced this. It was something that Charlie Whiting didn't really use. We see it in other forms of racing. Let's listen to Leclerc.
Black and white flag, no action at the moment.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. Well, the confidence of youth. Now, what I would say on that is, look, you can't be a wee bit pregnant. You either are or you aren't. Yeah, I get in football you get a yellow card and then you get the red. But you either have done something which is questionable driving or you haven't.
Yeah, and you know, it's a really interesting one that they've used it straight away. Mark, what do you reckon on this kind of new use of the black and white flag, especially in that kind of incident?
Well, as DC said, absolutely horrendous pressure on the stewards, and I think that, you know, it is, the timing of this is tricky, isn't it? Because it's a black and white. Like, if you know you've got that situation where you can have a strike against yourself, you can put Lewis in the grass here, which Leclerc certainly has done. So, but it's not over yet. History is, there's penalties on the back of that. Okay, if the rules are changed now and all the drivers are aware of that in drivers' briefings, then fair enough. But I don't think this is over yet, boys.
Let's listen to Hamilton.
He's super fast on the straights.
Yeah, well, we know the Ferrari's quick in a straight line, and it still is, and that was the fastest lap there for Charles Leclerc. Remember that Bottas is still leading this race, however, and now they're catching Daniel Ricciardo for second place. Might be another opportunity opening up here, and Charles Leclerc is still very well placed, you have to say. The black and white flag, it's like the yellow card in football. That's what it's being used as now, and it certainly has given him an opportunity to still win this race perhaps, but it's not over, and Hamilton is bearing down on him as Leclerc starts to look for an opportunity to get past Daniel Ricciardo. Now, he didn't judge it perfectly with Hulkenberg. He kind of played it okay in the end. How should he judge it here, David?
I think he's in the same situation. Daniel isn't going to want to give him the position before Parabolica, so he won't commit to the inside like he did with Hulkenberg. He will be compromised a little bit on downforce through the apex. See there, has to back off a little bit. Hamilton is again going to get the double toe. He actually came on the back of Hulkenberg too early, and here comes Leclerc.
But that speed of the Ferrari is so fast in a straight line that Hamilton can't really take much advantage of it, and now he hasn't managed to get past the Renault down the straight.
Yeah, Daniel's going to have to give way, I think, into the second chicane. Well, he doesn't have to, he's racing, but I think he will.
Yeah, look at Hamilton's got a great run here through Curva Grande. They go side by side through the long flat-out right-hander, and Hamilton will have the edge as they get down towards the second chicane. And there's no way, it doesn't look as though Daniel even wants to kind of get involved. He knows what they want is a solid result for Renault. This could make a massive difference to Renault if they can get points for 4th and 5th places here today. They've dropped away in the Constructors' Championship from their target of 4th, and this could reignite their championship chase really in the Constructors this year. But for now, Leclerc again deals with another pressure moment extremely well.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant, isn't he? He's nice DRS pass on Daniel there down into the first chicane. I don't think there is a bigger pressure on any driver than being a young Ferrari driver in Monza with Hamilton behind you.
No, I mean, we saw Verstappen versus Hamilton in Hungary, didn't we? I know it was a different set of tyres, which was a slightly different strategy, was part of that. But it's still fascinating to see Hamilton go up against these young stars who are coming into Formula One. And still, as they now are in 2nd and 3rd places, it's still Bottas who leads this race, remember. But he doesn't have the margin over them. What he will have, of course, late in this race, Valtteri Bottas, is a fresh set of tyres, much fresher tyres than these two, who've been working hard, racing hard, and it may come down to how these tyres last in the latter stages, where Bottas might be able to come back at them.
Yeah, but he's running well over a second a lap off the pace right now, so it'll be a late and long charge.
Albon into the pits and back on his way once again. Verstappen has now climbed up into 9th place, still waiting for a pit stop for him, but Alex Albon goes on to the medium tyre. It was on the equivalent of this that he did so well in Belgium, where he really started to pick up a few more places, and we'll see what he can do. But for the moment he drops down into 12th position as Hamilton keeps the pressure on Charles Leclerc, and up front it is Valtteri Bottas.
It's hard to keep up with him.
Let's just keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing what you're doing. Mark.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? They're both on different compounds now, and as Bottas does pit from the lead of the Grand Prix, and it's going to be interesting. He's got plenty of rubber to finish this Grand Prix. At any point in a safety car now for Bottas to get on the back of that train with that much rubber aboard, he'll be very, very quick. But Leclerc and Hamilton, as the race goes on, clearly Hamilton does have a tyre. Leclerc has a tyre advantage because of the hard compound. Lewis has got to put the pressure on now.
Yeah, good point. The Ferrari running that harder tyre, so in theory that will take him better to the end of the race than the tyres that Hamilton's running. So Bottas has come back out between the two Renaults. So Bottas is now in 4th place. He's behind Ricciardo, but he's ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. And here we are, back to where we knew we would get to, as long as they stayed on track, and that is Leclerc leading, Hamilton 2nd. But now it's Ricciardo 3rd, as we see Carlos Sainz just ripping a tear of visor away. And
front right. Yeah, front right hasn't been seated properly. So will this be the safety car that Mark mentioned? Is there someone he can pull off?
We saw the funny angle of the wheel, and he's pulled off. Oh, and that's hurt McLaren, who were on target for a really useful boost of points themselves, and with Renault scoring, or likely to score well here today, that's really painful. It went wrong at the pit stop.
Just watch. Yeah, you can see there. Yeah, they knew as they released him, they knew that the wheel gun, he had a problem there getting the nut seated.
Oh, that is, yeah, you could see it starting to wobble straight away. I don't know whether Carlos was immediately aware. We then saw it had a funny angle. Hamilton again close, yellow flags down at that end.
Virtual safety car.
Virtual safety car. I believe it's the first time it's happened here in Monza. We've had safety cars in the past, but it's the first virtual safety car. Now, this won't help Bottas as much as if it had been a full safety car. He's done his pit stop. Another lap later, under virtual safety car, and he could have saved about that. That would have put him right in there. So it's just the luck of the draw, I guess, as Carlos Sainz's car gets pushed away.
Yeah, this will be a very short virtual safety car, and then they'll get released again.
Back to
there you go. So I think the virtual safety car will be ending any time now.
Okay, a short one. Back-to-back non-finishes for Carlos Sainz, this will be. Yeah, look, it's ending already. So, virtual safety car is ending. We'll go back to full racing pace any second now. And Charles Leclerc will try and get it perfectly right on the restart. Here we go, we're racing again. The track goes green, and Lewis Hamilton continues the attack. Way behind them, Daniel Ricciardo hasn't been able to obviously make up time on the virtual safety car. It's not an opportunity. Gasly was able to pit, as was Perez. So there's a couple of guys who have taken advantage of that virtual safety car, which might possibly help them later on. We'll see if it does work out for them.
Hamilton's as close as he has been, but the speed of that Ferrari in the mid-range is just going to mean, I think, even with the DRS, I think he's going to come from a long way back.
Let's have a look. Yeah, you just see, look, there's not the gain down the straight that he really is looking for. We've seen some great overtaking manoeuvres down here by Lewis Hamilton in the past, but he's not close enough on this occasion. And it's certainly an interesting strategy that Ferrari went for the hard tyre, because Charles Leclerc did a really good run on Friday. So I think that he obviously felt, well, if I get the opportunity, I'm going to run the hard tyre. It worked on Friday. Pit stop from Nico Hülkenberg, and so far so good for Renault. Let's hope there are no problems there. He goes back on his way, 2.6 second stop, that's pretty effective. Bottas has now got past the other Renault, I believe, so Bottas has now got himself back into third place. So it didn't take him long to deal with the Renault, but as we said before, I don't think Renault were going to fight that too hard. Fourth and fifth here is pretty much the best they can ask for, unless one of the leaders has some kind of mechanical problem now in the second half of the race, or if there's a clash, of course, between the two guys who are racing for the win, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Going around on his own, rather quiet day for Sebastian Vettel now. And off Danny Kvyat. What's happened to Danny?
No, it's steaming, so I think that's an engine failure. This will be another virtual, at least, safety car.
It's just on the exit of the first chicane, and he's pulled it right over to the side where the marshals are. So, yeah, clearly it was
Virtual safety car deployed.
Now, is anybody able to take advantage of this? I'm not sure. Oh, Ricciardo, he's able to take advantage of it. So that's good timing for him. Romain Grosjean's come in for another stop, but it won't help him quite as much. But this will certainly help Daniel Ricciardo. It will close him back up with Bottas, I would think. But ultimately, I don't think it will mean any position changes. There's Romain Grosjean, who's made a second stop.
Yeah, you can see there you lose about 15 seconds on a virtual safety car, so that's about 7 seconds gained by the fact that the cars, your competitors, are not running at full speed whilst you're in the pits.
Could take a few more minutes to get Kvyat's car out of the way. Mark, do you think there's sort of a little bit of respite for Lewis Hamilton on his tyres is a useful thing?
Certainly won't hurt Ben at all. I mean, obviously the working range of that compound is a little bit more sensitive than a hard compound is, so he will like these little micro breaks for the rear tyre to get the temperature back down and just keep resetting this pressure on Leclerc to even extend the life of this tyre potentially, because that's what Hamilton needs.
Now, was this after the pit stop that Danny Kvyat had his problem?
Yeah, I think it is. I think the virtual safety car will be ending pretty soon now as well. As we see this replay, you can see the engine let go in the pit lane. It's not a happy Honda.
That's a great shame, isn't it? Because Honda have actually been pretty reliable this year, but this is their latest specification, a bit more power. Back to racing once again, back to full speed.
Hamilton coming out of Parabolica. We're not seeing him on screen right now, but this might well be an opportunity for him down into the first chicane.
Meanwhile, Verstappen trying to make up ground, and also here, we're looking at Pierre Gasly having a bit of a go at Lando Norris. No change up front, by the way. They've just gone past us, and Leclerc still in front of Hamilton. So Pierre Gasly also defending away, if possible, from Max Verstappen. And Max Verstappen, who did use that time to do his pit stop, so it has worked in a way for Max Verstappen to be able to utilise the virtual safety car, but it has put him back behind Gasly, because he'd already passed him, remember, before that round of pit stops. So Norris, Gasly and Verstappen. How is Max going to deal with this one? It's quite a train of cars, David. A lot of towing going on here.
Yeah, they're all sort of helping each other, aren't they? With that, Magnussen's the one that's some way back from Perez, so he's creating the hole in the air. You can see the speed differential with DRS.
Yeah, here comes Max then. He's making the move, and it should be easy to finish it off as they go down towards first chicane, both running the same power unit, the Honda, and again, Gasly doesn't make life too difficult. Meanwhile, I can tell you that Hamilton is, look, within 4/10 as they came through Parabolica.
He's closer, isn't it? This is it. Leclerc will have to defend the inside, and Hamilton will hope that that means he can compromise his exit down towards the second chicane.
But that Ferrari maintains its straight line speed, and it's very difficult to close up.
That's Vettel just in front, so Vettel isn't going to get in the way of Leclerc.
No, that's right. He's probably going to try and stay out of this as much as possible, but it's a day to forget for Sebastian, who is trying to get past the Williams of George Russell at the moment. That is racing for position, trying to claim back something out of today. Russell actually up ahead of his teammate Robert Kubica. The two Williams not looking likely to get points today, which will be the first time in a long time here at Monza that both cars haven't got into the points, let alone one of them.
Hamilton, well, he's got DRS, but so has Leclerc off the back of Vettel. Vettel's going to get out of the way for Leclerc. Will he keep out of the way of Hamilton? Yeah, he does indeed. You could have imagined that he could have legitimately slotted in between the two of them, but he doesn't want to be a part of it. Hamilton's close.
He is close this time, but there will be a good toe off the Williams. Oh no, he gets out of the way. Okay, so that isn't going to help Charles Leclerc very much. Look at the line that Lewis takes through Parabolica. Leclerc playing with the white line, that was just about okay, and didn't go beyond the track limits, I don't think. And then he gets that speed once again, and it's so hard. This is so frustrating for Hamilton because he's got such good performance, but it just goes to show that in years gone by, the Mercedes power unit has been enough to challenge. Vettel, by the way, going past George Russell, but there is no question that with the current configuration of the Ferrari, it's not just engine, it's also the amount of drag on the car. But they are very quick in a straight line.
Yeah, Russell's looking like he's trying to come back at Vettel.
That's quite fun, isn't it? Yeah, he's not going to give up, but I think he will have to as they come through the chicane. And Vettel will be able to get away ahead of the Williams. So Hamilton stays within DRS range. How long can he sustain this?
One mistake and Leclerc is in trouble.
I need more power, man.
Yeah, that Ferrari is mighty in a straight line.
And there is a point here, David, in that, you know, Mercedes are looking to win the World Championship, and they might be running a little more cautiously on power settings, where Ferrari have just got to go for every win whenever there's a chance. And they're probably not too worried if they ended up using an extra engine later in the year.
Yeah, it's a very good point. But how important now? You're in it to win it, of course, but it's a marketing platform for Mercedes. How important would it be for them to beat Ferrari in their home country?
Well, they've done it a few times, that's for sure. That was one of the Haas cars running deep there, and we're back with Max Verstappen. It was Magnussen, I believe, and Verstappen now chasing after Lando Norris. Let's have another look here. With Verstappen a moment ago. Ooh, yeah, that was Magnussen locking up in front and giving up a couple of positions. So Haas are having another painful day here.
Yeah, front left. Made no choice but to head down the escape road.
He was in 9th place, and now Magnussen finds himself down in 12th position. Charles Leclerc almost beginning to make a little bit of a break on this lap. Up to 0.9 of a second the gap. You could see how hard Hamilton was trying the way he came out of Lesmo 2 there.
It looked like there was a little hesitation on his DRS flap there. It opened, closed, and then reopened again. Operated by the driver, so maybe his finger jumped off the button.
This is real on the limit stuff from both Charles Leclerc, the 21-year-old, and the man 13 years his senior, Lewis Hamilton, right behind him.
Hamilton loves it though, doesn't he? He loves a battle, and he'll admire the talent that is Charles Leclerc.
So far, Leclerc has not done anything wrong, and he's been clever tactically. Again, Hamilton gets where you think he should be in order to have a go at getting past, but when we get onto the straight, he just cannot gain those few extra car lengths. Oh, little lock up for Leclerc.
First mistake.
He's gone deep. Oh, this is a chance for Hamilton, surely. They can't let him do that. He's had a black and white flag already.
Yeah, he's gained a lasting advantage, hasn't he, by missing the chicane.
Hamilton's going to attack anyway. He's going to have a look into the chicane. Leclerc just about blocks it. Now he's going to have another look down the inside, or is he? Because be sensible here, Lewis. It may well be that Leclerc will be penalised.
I think he damaged a little bit his front wing. Something flicked up as he went across the sleeping policeman.
On the Ferrari?
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that. Another look at it, David.
Yeah, so the pressure's been immense. The little lock-up under rotation. There's just, look, it was part of the yellow off the sleeping policeman, so I don't think the Ferrari car is damaged. Harder compound tyre. Yeah. Well, he's missed the corner, so
yeah.
Is that okay?
No, it's straightforward. He's gained an advantage, and surely it might have been sense for him to give the place straight back in many ways, because he could have then attacked immediately. I don't know.
Well, they'll defend. Their defence will be, we were leading going into the corner and we were leading coming out of the corner.
That was harsh too, with a little bit of movement around there.
Yeah.
But there's no sign of anything yet, and Hamilton knows that he wasn't penalised earlier, so he's not counting anything.
It's only noticed.
Some damage to driving going on.
Copy, Lewis, we're seeing it.
It's been noted by the stewards, but they will, usually when they said noted, they will then look into it. Let's just have a look what's come up. Noted, missing the apex. Doesn't mean they're not going to take action. Doesn't mean they are either.
The problem here, and we've had it before, is they could say, okay, you can miss the apex once, but if you do it twice or whatever, you'll get a penalty. But you could strategically miss the apex to make sure that you break a slipstream or don't allow someone to overtake you. This is where it all gets very complicated when you've got these tarmac runoffs.
And in the meantime, Bottas is flying. So he made that later pit stop, and he's catching them by a second a lap. I know that last lap was all a bit messy, but even so, Bottas is still in the hunt here, isn't he, Mark?
Really, and that's what you can do when you've got two cars in the front. You can flip the strategy and have a big offset on tyre performance, which they've done with Valtteri. So, you know, Lewis Hamilton is absolutely, this is like a boxer, headshots, body shots, headshots, body shots. You know, Leclerc is getting absolutely pulverised, and he's doing what he can. If he wins this, he's going to have more flags, he's going to everything. They're going to throw everything at him if he gets the job done, but Hamilton is on fire.
We've just had no investigation necessary announced on the screens, that they feel that Leclerc does not need further investigation. That will come up on your screen. So, despite the black and white warning flag he got earlier, they've deemed that okay, which I have to say I'm a little surprised at.
Yeah, look, I don't want penalties, but we've had situations in the past where people have been penalised for that. So this is where it comes down to consistency. Either do it all the time or don't do it at all. I personally like, say, gravel traps or grass on the exit of the circuit, so it completely takes away the debate about whether you can run off the track and did he gain an advantage, did he not?
I have my tyres left.
Just keep that pressure on Lewis, you're forcing him into errors.
Yeah, but Lewis is worried he doesn't have much tyre left, and he is doing a fantastic job of keeping the pressure on Charles Leclerc. Leclerc has almost done a good job, but there has been the odd mistake.
Yeah, he was a little bit out of shape there through Ascari, so Hamilton is close.
He is close, he's definitely right with Charles Leclerc here. Can he get a bit of downforce through Parabolica? That's what he needs. He runs wide, decides a different line, trying to get a bit of downforce. And again, Leclerc takes it beautifully, but he is in a good place. He's definitely closer than he was.
Yeah, but this is going to be late. If it's going to happen at all, it's going to be in the braking zone.
It could be a late lunge from Lewis Hamilton, but it's not quite there. Can he force Leclerc into a lockup? No, not this time. And Leclerc judged the braking beautifully. This is such top-class driving we're watching here.
Front right, he's got a little blister. Hamilton, just starting to see that open up.
Yeah, this is all helping Bottas, who gained again on the two of them on that last lap. He's got the gap down to 2.7 seconds behind Lewis Hamilton, and this could be going the way of Valtteri Bottas, but then of course once he catches them, he's got to find a way past. Mercedes might try swapping them and say, well, you go and have a go at getting past Leclerc. If you don't, we'll swap you back at the end. They've done that before, haven't they?
Yeah, they absolutely have it within the rules and regulations to do that. Hamilton would understand exactly what the thinking is, but right now he's keeping the pressure on.
Oh, this is great. This is a really interesting race, this. We've been so lucky over the last few months with some of the quality of racing that we've seen, and it's another one here at Monza, because Charles Leclerc has led so far from the start of the Italian Grand Prix, but never has he had it easy. He's been under pressure. He's made a couple of mistakes, and so far the stewards have given him a little bit of leeway. I would imagine if he does anything else, that it's unlikely he would get away with it. And you can argue whether he's been given a bit too much leeway already, but he's driving brilliantly, and so far he's got that lead position over Lewis Hamilton. So Bottas a little quicker, was he? Yes, again, not by much. I mean, Leclerc's still doing some good lap times here.
Yeah, he'll be getting into the gearbox of Hamilton pretty soon.
Let's just quickly run through what's going on behind, because the midfield battles, of course, we've got the two Renaults and then Albon in 6th.
Hamilton behind with DRS. No moving under braking, turn 4. No moving under braking for turn 4.
I don't move.
I don't move. Well, he did actually move for turn 4. Maybe that was a message from the stewards, because there was a little bit of movement.
Yeah, that's an offline conversation between the pit wall and the racing director. They don't feel that it warrants an actual message to the wider world, but certainly to the team, they're saying, okay, look, we're watching you.
Sergio Perez, by the way, running in 7th, so that virtual safety car pit stop certainly helped Racing Point. Remember, he's come from way down at the back. He was 18th on the grid, Sergio Perez. Real chance for the Racing Point team to score well. He did a decent job in Belgium as well. Giovinazzi's running in 8th place. Verstappen is now in 9th, however, and Verstappen, I think, will be on target to get past Giovinazzi very, very soon. And then you've got Lando Norris hanging on in there in 10th, and he started down towards the back as well. So that's been a good run from Lando Norris. He started in 16th. We've seen his teammate Carlos Sainz go out after a pit stop went wrong. But Lando Norris is currently in that final point scoring position, which would be quite an achievement if they get to hang on in there. By the way, McLaren are being investigated for an unsafe release on Carlos Sainz's car. That could lead to some sort of penalty.
Yeah, Bottas edging ever closer, 8 laps fresher tyres on his car, and that visible blister opening up a bit more on Hamilton.
So outside the top 10, we've got Gasly, Stroll, Vettel, who's now in 13th place in the Ferrari. Ironically, he's going to be catching Lance Stroll, the man he hit when he rejoined the track after his spin earlier on. But there's quite a big time difference between them, so I'm not sure he's going to be able to do that in the remaining part of this race. We've got 12 laps left. We've had a couple of virtual safety cars, so I don't think we'll see the fastest ever race here at Monza. But it has been pretty rapid. You count the laps off quickly here, and suddenly, before you know it, you're nearly into the closing stages. And well, that means that Lewis Hamilton's running out of time. But look at Bottas, almost within DRS range now of his teammate, and there's a look up from Hamilton, who goes deep, goes wide. He's going to have to give up the place.
Yeah, Bottas will pass him.
Bottas goes into 2nd place, and now it is all about, can Bottas, with the fresher tyres, steal the victory away from Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari?
Well, there's a come at the moment, come at the man. I think this is Bottas's big moment. Fresher tyres, running faster. Hamilton, I think those tyres are just spent, so I don't expect to see him coming back. Front left, you'll see here under rotation. And as soon as it happens, thinks about it. I think actually, with the benefit of hindsight, you would have been better bouncing over the sleeping policeman like Leclerc did than getting all of that time loss by going through the sort of polystyrene chicane there.
But don't forget, he's chasing a world championship as well, and he's got to think about that and what counts in terms of scoring points. Bottas is his closest rival in the championship, but even so, he's still got a chance of scoring very valuable points. Better to finish 1 place behind him than out of the race. Right, Bottas on the attack.
So hunt him down. There's 12 laps to go.
Sounds good from Valtteri's point of view.
I would have maybe liked a little bit more passion or energy in that radio transmission.
But it sort of suits Valtteri, doesn't it, as well, because he's always so calm in the car, and really interesting to see. I mean, the relationship he's got with Riccardo Mosconi, his engineer this year, because it's a new engineer for Valtteri this year from previous years, and it does seem to be working quite well. But remember, it's Baku since he last won a race this year. Vettel, by the way, has been in for a new set of tyres as he no doubt tries to get fastest lap.
Yeah, but does that not only apply to the top 10?
Yes.
To get the extra point?
That's the point. Yeah, it is. Yeah. so that might not make any difference. Oh, Mark, give me a breather. Tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Ben. I think that it is interesting, the different compounds still on these cars, and I've banged on about it, but in terms of, Leclerc does have that harder compound, and will that be the difference to get him home? But, Bottas does have a fresher tyre, and it's his job now. He has to put some maximum pressure on trying to get this victory. Ferrari snatched it off him in the last few laps, but Leclerc has rode his luck, and can he get the job done?
Fascinating to see. Leclerc's just done a really good middle sector, although Bottas was a tiny bit quicker. Bottas didn't do such a good first sector this time, and as they come over the line, let's see, the gap 1.6 seconds, pretty much the same. Still not quite within DRS range, and although he's on the fresher tyres, they are the different compound. Leclerc bashes it over the curb, that's okay. And look at the fans, they're really getting buzzed up now.
Yeah, they're willing him towards the flag. It has been a brilliant display so far, and I liked Mark's expression there about he's been riding his luck, but well, fortune favours the brave, and he's done enough to make sure he's kept that Ferrari at the front. Doesn't look like Bottas now is really applying pressure.
Yeah, I've got nothing left in his eyes.
They can make a pit stop.
Yeah, I'd go for the extra point if I was him.
Yeah, and be safe in third, rather than, the last thing they want to do leading the World Championship is to risk him breaking down with a punctured tyre or something.
Yeah, Ricciardo's 34 seconds behind, so they can comfortably come in, fresh set of tyres, accept the third, pick up the extra point, come back to try and win the next one.
Leclerc is matching Bottas almost thousandths of a second for thousandths of a second. He's got it down to 1.4 seconds now, the gap. But as we get back onto the straight, there's really little in it between them. Charles Leclerc comes over the line. Let's see what the gap is. Well, it is down to 1.3 now, so that was a gain of 0.3 on that last lap.
Yeah, Leclerc came here as a mere winner of a Grand Prix for Ferrari, and he wins here today in Monza. It's, I don't know what the highest accolade you can have in Italy, but he will certainly have earned legendary status.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Verstappen, now in 8th place, has got a chance of catching Sergio Perez, and in fact he has caught him. It's just a question of getting past him, and that would bring Verstappen up into 7th, directly chasing after his own teammate Alex Albon. Albon some 4 seconds behind the Renault of Nico Hülkenberg, and I'm not sure that gap is changing at all at the moment.
We are looking at options. Pit window behind is clear.
Yeah, do they bring him in or not? That's what they're thinking about. Does he look after the tyres, look after the car? He's not losing a huge amount of performance, but he was about a second down on Bottas on that last lap.
Just seeing that slow-mo, the blistering on the inside shoulder, that's rotational blistering. There's so much energy and heat goes into the inside edge of the tyre at speed on the straights.
Kevin Magnussen looks as though it's out of the race for him, and Haas's misery continues. They've never scored points here. Last year, Grosjean did finish in the points, but then they were disqualified for illegal aerodynamic parts, and Haas have never scored any points here, and poor old Magnussen isn't going to score any today. Grosjean's down in 16th. Now, the gap was almost DRS range then. Look at it. You've got to be under 1 second behind for Bottas to get the additional help in a straight line, and it's 1.0 something at the moment. Well, 1.1 now.
So I think that Charles Leclerc will be thinking, is this another Austria? Am I going to get hunted down to the end?
This is your win.
Yeah,
this is your win.
He needs this, doesn't he? He's got a security in his contract for Mercedes next year. In fairness to him, Hamilton, one of the best racers in the world, couldn't break Leclerc, but where is he on his tyres?
Rather strange statistic here at Monza. It's never been won by a Finnish driver. You'd think Mika would have won it, and he nearly did, but he spun out, didn't he? And Kimi Raikkonen has had 2 pole positions, but he's never won here at Monza. So the odds are not favouring Bottas in that sense, but he's got an opportunity. And actually, this lap, look, he's dropped away again a bit. It's down to it's up to 1.7 seconds suddenly. What's going on there?
Yeah, I think he's had an issue in Ascari, because the first and second sectors he matched matched Leclerc perfectly. Yeah, 28, 1/2 a second down in that final sector.
trying maybe a little too hard. But so far, so good for Charles Leclerc. Started first, still first, says the graphic. He's been an eventful time leading this race, no doubt about it. But so far, so good. He's hanging on in there, Mark.
He is, and it just goes to show you, DC touched on it there before. Lewis Hamilton, when he's on the tail of another competitor, he sits in that disturbed air, he can hustle and he can fight. And there's one thing catching on clean lap time, as Valtteri's done, but you've got to get up into the diffuser of this car in front, and that's what is another layer, another string in your bow as a world champion to be able to do that. So Bottas, I hope he can, but he is running out of laps, and you just see the difference between the two drivers.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Yeah, there does seem to be a bit of a struggle now. Kevin Magnussen explaining what's gone wrong, and sadly, he's a retirement. We've also lost Danny Kvyat and Carlos Sainz, so it's 3 retirements. Quite often this race carries on without too many, but we've lost 3 from this race. In the points at the moment, we have these top guys chased by Ricciardo and Hülkenberg, Albon in 6th. Verstappen still hasn't got past Perez for 7th place, Giovinazzi 9th, looking for only his 2nd points finish of the year. And then Norris up in 10th place, chased by Pierre Gasly. Lance Stroll, who was unlucky in that incident with Vettel earlier. Russell 13th, ahead of Vettel in 14th place. And that was a new fastest lap by Valtteri Bottas, who's got the gap, well, not much further down, because it was a good lap by Leclerc as well. So they're still pushing totally flat out. And right at this stage, Leclerc seems to have enough to fend off that other Mercedes. Hamilton has not come into the pits yet. His pace is disappearing off a little bit. Maybe they decided to leave him out there, just in case these two have a bit of a battle side by side. I guess that might leave Hamilton a chance to catch them back up again. Who knows? And in the meantime, Ricciardo and Hülkenberg are 4th and 5th.
Yeah, and Albon is closing just under a second a lap on Hülkenberg. So he was 2.4 seconds behind. So that 5th place is there to be taken.
It's interesting that Verstappen's finding it hard to get past Perez. That straight line speed of the Racing Point is making it difficult for the Red Bull Honda to actually get past him. He's been sitting there for a lap or 2 now without being able to make the move. So Charles Leclerc coming around to complete another lap. This will be complete lap number 48 to go on to lap 49 out of 53. He's ticking them off one by one. He's also got a car that he can chase down the straight to give him a little bit of extra straight line speed. That will help. Bottas likewise, but he might get caught up through the first corner just a touch. And Valtteri Bottas, after charging up through the order, just does seem to be a little bit stuck now. I'm not sure it is going to go his way, unless Charles Leclerc makes a big mistake somewhere. Yeah, I think that might have cost him just a little bit of time going past Pierre Gasly, who's still running down in 11th place. Looks like Toro Rosso might not be in the points on this occasion, which is a bit of a shame. They've missed out on points here since 2013, actually, the Toro Rosso team, and it is their home race. They are an Italian team, but it's not been working out for them too well in recent years. Lando Norris just going through the shot. He's in 10th place, hoping to get that single point. And driver of the day poll showing that Leclerc comfortably ahead of everyone else, no matter what happens in the closing stages. Right, 1.3 seconds the gap. Let's just see. Valtteri's tyres are now 21 laps old, but it is the medium compound tyre. And I have to say, the strategy from Leclerc and the team to put the hard tyre on seems to be really paying off now.
Yeah, we certainly, no one knew for sure as Mercedes prepare themselves for Hamilton. Coming to the pits, some fresh tyres on, and comfortably maintain 3rd place while setting the fastest lap.
Set of softs, I believe, going on, so he will be going for fastest lap here. And, well, he'll come back out in 3rd place. He'll lose just a few points to his teammate. If it stays this way, he'll only lose 3. Bit of a slide from Leclerc.
Yeah, he went deep into the second chicane. Just need Bottas to apply the same pressure that Hamilton was in that middle sector, because we know they're slower in the first and second. You'll have DRS now, and it opens and then closes again, a little bit like we saw with Hamilton, and then opens again. There's a little bit unusual characteristic there on the rear wing for Mercedes. Bit of traffic ahead as well, That's going to be Norris in the McLaren. So although he will give a slipstream to Leclerc, he'll also steal some air from Leclerc in Parabolica.
He's got the gap down to 0.6. This is by far the closest we've seen Bottas to Leclerc. And is Leclerc now struggling for grip? Because we saw that little mistake at the chicane through Parabolica. This is where the Ferrari needs its straight line speed advantage, and it has it again. But they've got a car up ahead as well to deal with. Bottas trying to close up a little bit more. 3 laps to go as Lando Norris keeps out of the way of the battle for the lead here.
Oh, he's gone deep, Bottas.
A mistake from Valtteri Bottas just at the worst moment, really, as he got that little bit closer, and he's now dropped again to 1.4 seconds.
What is so fantastic about this display from Charles Leclerc, he's had both Mercedes applying pressure. He's had Hamilton, the ultimate pressure, then Bottas, and he's just resisted, hasn't he? It's been a really wonderful drive.
Yeah, he's dealt with everything that they've thrown at him so far. Can he hang on for another 2.5 laps? Another look at the mistake from Bottas, David.
Yeah, just a slight under-rotation of the inside right, and unlike Hamilton, he manages to scurry around the chicane.
Oh, and there's Toto Wolff's reaction, because he knows that could be the last chance for them to gain that place. Charles Leclerc, the gap has come down again a little bit by a little bit, but he's not within DRS range this time. That could have been the big moment. The crowd are starting to cheer. We're not quite there yet, though. He's going to complete that 51 and go on to lap number 52. We're getting down towards the end now, and he's still got a gap of 1.2 seconds. Still, Max Verstappen hasn't managed to get past Sergio Perez in that battle for 7th, but Alex Albon is now almost within DRS range of Nico Hülkenberg. They are going through the Lesmos at the moment, so there could be an opportunity for Alex Albon, a bit like in Belgium, where he got a place on the last lap and then gained another one when Lando Norris retired. So Alex Albon has not given up, on board with Lewis Hamilton, and you imagine he's going to get fastest lap, 1:21.7, and that is pretty impressive. Not quite the lap record, but not far off it, about 7/10 away. It still is held by Rubens Barrichello, 2004 at a 1:21.0. But nonetheless, he'll get the extra point, and he'll lose just 2 points to his teammate in that case, if they finish as they are right now, unless Bottas can find a way past Charles Leclerc in the remaining lap and a bit. That's all he's got left now.
Yeah, I think he's going to do enough to hold on, and it's just been an immense drive, isn't it, to deal with that level of pressure and expectation. And other than that, questionable movement in the braking and the second chicane, little lock up at the first. It's been flawless.
We're on to the final lap, and Charles Leclerc has controlled the entire Italian Grand Prix up to now. Can he just fend off Valtteri Bottas for the remaining part of this race? He's got traffic to cope with as well. That's Giovinazzi up ahead of him, running around in 9th place, and the Italian looking to score points at his home event. He's going to get well out of the way. He messed up in the final lap in Belgium and threw away a chance to get points, and he doesn't want to do it this time. Oh!
Overtakers available.
And Bottas made a little error there, put a wheel into the gravel, and I think that's pretty much it now. I cannot see Bottas coming back from that another little error there. He's got all the overtaking potential he needs from the engine. They've given him all the horsepower they can, but Mercedes, they've thrown everything at trying to win this race. Look at the response from the crowd. Charles Leclerc coming up through Ascari for the last time, heading down towards Parabolica corner. Ferrari are heading for victory on home soil. Look at the flags waving, the delight around the Autodrome here in Monza. The Royal Park is coming alive. Charles Leclerc wins the Italian Grand Prix for Ferrari. The first time since 2010 that Ferrari have won their home race. A brilliant drive. Defending from Lewis Hamilton, defending from Valtteri Bottas. He's done it, and he's taken back-to-back wins, becoming Only the 9th driver in Formula One history to achieve that, and the first since Lewis Hamilton did it in 2007, winning the Canadian and US Grand Prix. What an achievement today to win for Ferrari.
You've done it.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
And he deserves the celebrations, David. I mean, what a performance that was.
Yeah, I don't think anything will feel quite as good as this, including when he wins his first world title, which I'm sure he will. Absolutely brilliant.
Incredible. I mean, there were times then when it looked like it was going wrong, but he held it together. The steward's decisions just went his way, but look at that, 2 wins in a row.
It sends a clear message, doesn't it? Not only Vettel, you know, that message has been coming all year, but it sends a clear message to Hamilton that just when he thought it was only Verstappen who was the coming man, he's got Leclerc to deal with as well. This will energize Hamilton, I think.
It will, yeah. But as I say, 2 wins back-to-back from his first win, of course, I mean. So taking win number 1 and then number 2 in his second outing and the next outing, that really is unusual.
Ciao, sono Mattia, oggi sei perdonato, sei tutti noi, bravo.
Ah! Grazie mille, grazie a tutti. Siete dei grandi. Mamma mia, mamma mia. Ah, non ci sono parole. Grazie per tutto. Grazie per tutto. Siete i migliori. Per sempre.
Grazie a te.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? And a real achievement, and I think he will be, Lewis Hamilton just going alongside. He got fastest lap, gets the extra point. He finished in 3rd place, and it means that Lewis is still leading the championship by 63 points, a comfortable margin over Valtteri Bottas. Verstappen is in 3rd place, but Leclerc has now overtaken Vettel in the championships. Another significant moment. Leclerc is now 4th. Vettel has dropped to 5th.
Good job all the weekend, guys. Thank you so much for the hard work. Sorry I wasn't able to put it off.
Well, he did everything he could, didn't he? I mean, it was a great performance from Lewis Hamilton again.
Yeah, to run in that dirty air for lap after lap, it's no wonder. Eventually his tyres gave up. And, well, Mercedes tried everything. They offset their strategies. But today, Charles Leclerc was unbeatable.
And he's soaking up the atmosphere. Youngest ever driver to win for Ferrari, which he achieved last week. And now it's 2 in a row. 2 of the classics as well, 2 of the all-time classic venues, Belgium and now Monza. You know, any racing driver would love to have victories on their CV at these amazing circuits, and he's done it with Ferrari as well. I mean, that is just such a special thing. 40 years ago, Jody Scheckter won here for Ferrari, and he's here watching this weekend. He was doing a demonstration in the car that he took the World Championship with that year. He knows what it can be like to be a Ferrari driver and winning. But this is one of the most special moments you can possibly imagine. It's something Sebastian Vettel has not achieved in his time at Ferrari. That is a home victory for the team. And Sebastian had a miserable day today. He ended up finishing down in 13th. But the celebrations are all about this young man from Monaco who has done it. He's taken his first and second wins in Formula One on back-to-back race weekends at 2 of the most incredible tracks on the calendar. What a performance it was today. And that's lovely to see Lewis Hamilton, despite the little incidents between them, coming over to congratulate him. And so does Valtteri Bottas. Mercedes get a double podium. Their championship continues in fine style. But Charles Leclerc is the star of the day at Monza. Nobody wants to be left out of that. Nobody at Ferrari. The passion is just wonderful to see. And family around as well. Just an amazing, amazing day for Charles Leclerc. Sergio Perez just wandering in. He'll come over to congratulate him. He finished a fine 7th in the end, so I think he can be pretty happy with that, especially as he started down at the back of the field. Alexander Albon didn't quite manage to beat Nico Hülkenberg, so out of the top 3 we saw Ricciardo finish 4th, Hülkenberg 5th. But let's go and hear from Charles Leclerc, who's about to speak to Martin Brundle.
Oh my goodness, Charles, what a brilliant drive. That will go down in Ferrari legend. Fantastic, well done.
Oh, thank you so much. What a race. I've never been so tired, obviously. Can I speak in Italian? Because
of course.
Sì, è stata una gara difficilissima, perché ovviamente mi teneva tanto per me di far bene qua, per il team, per tutti I tifosi, e vincere qua è solamente un sogno. Lo era già settimana scorsa per la prima vittoria, ma penso che in termini di emozioni vincere qua è 10 volte di più, dunque grazie a tutti e non c'ho parole.
Mercedes-Benz, the great Mercedes-Benz team threw everything at you, 2 against 1, and you didn't succumb to the pressure.
Yeah, I did a few mistakes, but at the end I finished first, so yeah, very happy with this, but I need to be careful with the mistakes, but obviously none of them were made me lost position today.
Well done, brilliant race. Valtteri, the fresh tyres at the end look quite good, but not quite enough to pass young Charles.
Yeah, I think we had a good strategy with me, and I could go pretty long in the first stint, and that opened up some opportunities at the end, but I'm gutted, you know, I was trying everything I could to get him, and there was no way past, so always when I was getting close enough, I started to have front locking because of the lack of downforce, and they're so quick in the straights as well, but I tried. I think it's the best we could do today.
He was very strong off Parabolica the last corner, wasn't he, and then down the straight, so difficult to overtake.
Yeah, it was really difficult for sure, trying everything we could with the engine modes and everything, but not quite enough, but yeah, we move on.
3rd consecutive podium here. Maybe not the place you wanted to be. Thank you very much, Valtteri. Lewis, wow, what a dice, what a battle that was. Got a bit fruity in places.
Fruity?
A little bit close. His elbows are coming out here and there. What would be your word?
Yeah, it was great. You know, he did a great job. Congratulations to Ferrari and to Charles. He did a great job. A lot of pressure from both Valtteri and I. I did the best I could. I think, obviously, following so closely for such a long time, tyres eventually just went off the cliff. But nonetheless, they were just quicker today, much quicker in the straight line. So even if we did get close, we couldn't pass. So not our day, but still strong points for the team. We pull away from Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship, and ultimately that's what really matters.
And you must be homing in now on your 6th title. It must be starting to come into range in your mind.
Honestly, just trying to do better each race. I'm not really focused on that at the moment, but of course, healthier lead than I've been in the past, so obviously I'm grateful for that. But today wasn't a perfect race. I think this weekend some improvements are going to be made to my setup and obviously within myself, so we'll focus on that for the next race.
Okay, thank you. They're waiting for you on the amazing podium here at Monza.
Well, it is a very special podium at Monza, and we're going to be able to enjoy that in just a moment or two. And interesting that Lewis had no kind of negative comments about the way that Charles drove today. It's very fair. He felt that the Ferrari had the edge and that they deserved the victory. And I don't think I've ever seen it quite as compressed down there as we're seeing there right now.
They've got that opportunity to get right below the winning drivers. But yeah, that is interesting. Lewis, he's very fair that way. He's very uncontroversial in that respect. And I'm sure in his mind, he may feel it was tight, it was close. But, well, those winners take things right to the very edge. And the super talented find the way to turn advantage, even out of adversity. So a great victory for Charles. Magnanimous in defeat, Mercedes.
Yes, indeed, and their winning run has come to an end here, and interestingly, it still stays the same, that nobody's ever won 3 in a row at Monza over all these years, and all the great champions, including Lewis. He's done a couple of 2 in a row, but nobody's ever done 3 in a row. There's the Charles Leclerc, pumped up, as he said. Probably never felt so tired in some ways, but never so excited. Quick look at the points there, by the way, as well. Leclerc ahead of Vettel.
You were always on. Well done. Thank you. C'est des vrais qui gagnent. Quoi? Des vrais? Il y a du monde dehors.
Amazing, just soaking up the atmosphere there. I mean, it's lovely that this young man who comes from Monaco, he speaks fluent Italian, fluent French, fluent English, so fits in so perfectly to this team. And we believe he's got a very long future there, not just from his results, but the team, I love him as well.
Yeah, this cements his name firmly in the minds of Ferrari legend. And, well, as he makes his way out onto the podium, Sebastian Vettel will be in the press pen answering questions as to how he managed to finish 13th in this Grand Prix.
So we're going to enjoy the podium ceremony now. This unique podium that sits over the start-finish line here presents a spectacular backdrop with the Tifosi all crammed in to see their man Charles Leclerc come out. But let's start with third place man. It is Lewis Hamilton, his 12th podium of 2019, and his championship campaign still goes extremely well. Second place and gaining just 3 points back on Lewis Hamilton, but ultimately not making too much difference. It is Valtteri Bottas. But the man they're all out there to see and to cheer, the first Ferrari winner at Monza since 2010, it is Charles Leclerc. Soak up the moment, because this is a truly, truly special day. since the Italian anthem played out for Ferrari, and it's Charles Leclerc who's delivered it once again for the fans here, who are soaking it up beautifully. So the trophy is presented, and let's listen to the cheer. Very, very special. The Constructor Trophy going to Ferrari on this occasion for only their second win of 2019. But they've taken 2 key victories at Belgium and now here as well at Monza. And surely that's helped Mattia Binotto, the boss, to hang on to his position. Toto Wolff congratulates Ferrari because they threw everything at them, but they just stayed ahead. And the third place trophy on this occasion going to Lewis Hamilton. Such a regular winner here, but not on this occasion. He fought as hard as he could, but had no answer for Charles Leclerc. With back-to-back victories and a win for Ferrari on home soil for the first time in 9 years, Charles Leclerc has truly established himself as the Tifosi's new hero. The celebrations will go deep into the night here at Monza and at Ferrari's base in Modena, and this young man will never be able to walk down a street in Italy anonymously ever again.